So we have seen a brief overview about the application. Now, this application is of a two types basically. One is a registration portal, and the second one is for these folks to log in. So, as part of this registration portal, we have a 4 to 5 requirements are there. Okay, we have a 4 to 5 requirements as part of this registration portal that we are going to study right now. So the first requirement here is, see now, so choose the subscription type. As said that we are registering on behalf of an organization, they need to purchase the product, right? So here is a screen. Basically, we are giving it for the organizations to purchase the membership. Like if you purchase a premium product, in the next screen, they will display the details. If you choose a normal product, in the second screen, they will give you the details about the product. The screen one, they are displaying just the product's information. If you select a particular product and go to the second screen, in the second screen, whichever the product you have selected, they will give you more details about that particular product. If you like it, you will use that particular details or you will use that product. If you don't like it, you can go back and you can change the product whichever you want. So the first screen is a products list screen. The second screen is the selected product information screen. And the third screen is, as we are registering on behalf of a particular company, the complete company details information screen should be populated. And the fourth screen is going to be whatever the information you have given a kind of a verification check here. And finally, the PayPal navigation. And once you are done with the payment, the last screen is a confirmation screen that you are done and you can access your application like this. Now, if IBM wants, IBM will get this particular screen and IBM will have a URL stating that what would be the URL? www.gmail.com/IBM. So this is what for an IBM is. If TCS registered here, we will give them a separate URL as a TCS, and the URL is a differ, the username is a differ, and the password is a differ. All these three are three different chunks that we have on top of it. Okay, all these three are three different things that we have on top of it, guys. Okay, any questions for me on this? So the first four requirements are, the first requirement will talk about the home screen. The second requirement will talk about the welcome screen. The third requirement will talk about the company details screen. And the fourth requirement will talk about the confirmation screens. Let's go back to the requirement document now and let us see the first requirement. Choose the subscription type or a product type. User should be able to select the product type, and the post condition is user should be navigated to the welcome screen. Upon you are done with this particular thing, you will be navigated to a welcome screen. Okay, that's what it is saying. So once you are done here, you will be navigated to a welcome screen. So that's going to be the next screen. So more details about the requirement will be documented here as part of the requirement document. The first requirement, is this clear for you all, or you have any questions for me, guys? Everyone, is this first requirement clear for you all?
Yes, sir.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Done the deal. And then the next point that we need to consider here is, okay, once we are done with this particular first set of a requirement, let us go on to the second requirement. As for me, the second requirement is a welcome screen in the screenshot. So go back to the requirement. The second requirement talks about a welcome screen. Display the selected product details and a subscription details. Whichever the product you have selected, the selected product information should display here as part of this particular screen. So if you see the requirement, display the selected product details. If I selected premium product on a home screen, the premium product information should display. If I select a monthly product, the monthly product information should display. If I select a quarterly product, the quarterly product, annual product information should display. All these information should display. And then user should click on a next button. Upon clicking on a next button in this screen, if you click on a next button in this screen, company details screen should display. See here, company details screen should display. This is what the second requirement is talking about. So this is what the second requirement is talking about. Moving on to the third requirement, it's a company data. As part of this company data, you need to capture the company details. Whichever the company is registering here, that particular company details should be tracked here. Whatever the company details you were getting, you need to store those company details and will be navigated to either a confirmation screen or a verification screen. And in the company details screen, there are a multiple fields are there. Individual fields, the company name, it's stating that in the company details screen, it should display only 12 fields. Company name, email, contact person, contact number, fax, address, country, state, zip, website, and a company logo. All these fields should display. That's what the requirement is saying. And for an individual field, they are saying that the company name is a field which accepts only the string data type, and we need to pass on 20 characters into that. And this fields accept only alphabet and a numerics, and it's a mandatory field. So they have a given information about the individual fields, how many fields it will display, whichever fields are a mandatory fields, whichever the fields are a non-mandatory fields, all those details will be displayed as part of this particular screen. This is all about a company details screen requirement. Is this point clear for you guys, or any questions for me on this? Everyone?
Yeah, good.
Good enough.
Understood.
Then the next screen here, considering that it's a confirmation screen, directly we'll get a confirmation message. So as part of the confirmation message, you can see this. Okay, as part of the confirmation message, you can see this particular username and a URL. Why we get a confirmation message? In this screen, we have a fourth screen, which is a verification page, which we are not documented as part of a requirements. Means the integration with the payment gateway was not completed at the time of documenting the requirements. That's the reason. Once the user entered the details, directly we are displaying a confirmation screen. Later, we had an integration with a payment gateway. So upon this screen, the next screen will be completed. Okay, the next screen will be completed here. Okay, good. Any questions?
No, sir.
Perfect. So this is all about the various requirements which we have as part of this registration portal. And now I'll be giving you a small example for an assignment. So what you guys need to do is I will explain the second website requirements on a high level. On a high level, I will explain about all the second application examples. The only thing that you guys need to do is just open this requirement document, open all the requirements, and study one after another requirement, guys. Okay, you need to study the requirement and you need to understand those requirements. That's what your assignment is. So the second website, we can call it as a tenant portal. Okay, the tenant portal. The first website, we call it as an onboarding portal. Okay, the second website, we call it as a tenant portal. On this, see, basically IBM is having a 10,000 employees. Out of 10,000 employees, only one person registered here. So we should grant access for all the people, right? We should grant access for all the people. So that's the reason that one person who created an account, we call that one person as an admin. Admin can log in and admin can perform below operations. The first thing is admin can create a user. While creating a user, he has an option to set permissions for the user. Permissions means we call them as a roles. What does these roles do? Let me give you a small example. Assume that Surendra is having ICICI bank account and he is a customer for ICICI bank. Okay, Surendra is a customer for this ICICI bank. Okay, okay. So the next thing is maybe we have a Sunita. She is a branch manager for ICICI bank. If Surendra login into the ICICI bank, he will get few options like a fund transfer, request a fund from a US or a chatbot, all these things. Whereas a Sunita, when she log in, she will have some additional features as she's a manager. She can activate a user, she can delete a user, she can deactivate a user, she can perform multiple operations. So we both are logging from the same screen itself, but how the application is recognizing means depending on the roles. Okay, Surendra is having maybe a user permissions and Sunita is having a manager permissions to the portal. That's the reason they have a different sets of scenarios in their applications. Is this point clear for you guys? What I am trying to explain with this example? The UI, what Surendra is getting and Sunita is getting is completely differ. The reason is Surendra is a user and Sunita is a manager. When manager log in into the application, they will get a n number of screens where a user don't have those options at all. Okay, where a user don't have those options at all. That's the reason. So the whole thing will, the permissions will do the same way. Whenever you are creating a user in our application also, first of all, we have these permissions a concept. We call it as a roles. So admin can create a role, edit a role, and delete a role. For this role, he can add a permissions. Okay, like this permission, maybe he can edit a user, he can delete a user, all the permissions admin can set. And as part of a user, while creating a user, okay, user management, admin can create a user. While creating the user, it's a mandatory to specify the role. He will edit a user, he will delete a role. So admin can manage a roles and a users. For every user, it's mandatory to have a permissions. Is this example clear for you guys before moving ahead with the further stuff? Deepa, Gayatri, and Shobhan?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Good.
Got it.
And the deal. And then the next thing is the application is having some themes. Admin is having some manage themes concept where they can change the UI of the application. So in your mobile phone, there is a themes concept. If you change the theme, automatically the mobile user interface will be changed, right? Automatically the mobile user interface will be changed. Using these themes concept, you can customize that particular thing. Okay, using this theme, you can customize it. Good enough. And these are the admin set of permissions. An admin can also do a workflow. So workflows means, so as I'm an admin, it's tough for me to monitor all the 10,000 users in an application. That's the reason for Ramya, I will assign user creation responsibility. For Deepa, I will assign a manage a theme responsibility. For Shobhan, I will give some other responsibility. As I am a super admin, I will monitor these three guys, how they are doing. But though I have given some permissions to Deepa, I am controlling using a workflow that if Deepa is deleting a user, I need to accept it. Then only delete the user. See, I'm giving permissions, but still I'm controlling, which we call it as a workflow. Okay. And RFQ form. This form will be there for an admin and a user. Okay. RFQ form, if you consider for an admin, basically, as he is an admin, he can add few fields to the form and he can delete a few fields to the form. RFQ, which is request for quote form for a user. He can see the form, he can fill the details, and he can submit a request. He can just submit a request. Admin, whatever the form fields he is changing, we can treat it as an entities. So he is customizing the fields that is displaying on a form. If you log in into the portal using a user credentials, you can find the RFQ form and a view codes tab for a user. So whenever the vendor response will be tracked here. So when you log in into the application as a user, only these are two things you can find. For a vendor, all these options will be populated. Good. Any questions on this requirement, guys, or do you have everyone? I have a given a high level overview on these requirements. Now it's your turn to open the requirements document. Okay, it's your turn to open the requirements document and study one after another requirement. Okay, study one after another requirement. That's it. Just to go ahead and study one requirement after another requirement in that document. Clear, guys? Your task. And now I will give you one more requirement. So for these requirements, I have explained, right? For these requirements, I have explained you the details. For another requirement, I will not explain anything. I will just give you that document and you guys need to understand and come up with the questions on that. If at all you have any questions, you just need to come up with the questions on that requirements document. Okay, so just analyze it. For this application, I have shared all the details. For the next set of applications, I'm not going to share anything. You just need to follow by your own and you just need to understand that stuff from your end. Okay, guys, done the deal. Okay, so I'll be sharing you these documents in an attachment in your email. Go ahead and have a look into these documents and practice it. Yes. So this is a new requirement. I haven't explained you anything about this requirement. This is another way of representing a requirement. Of course, I'm sharing this requirement document also. Have a look into this requirement and try understanding that what this requirement is saying, what you need to do, just understand this requirement. I don't explain anything about it. This is not related to the application that I have explained right now. It's a completely a different set of application. Go ahead and have a look into that. And usually the user screen prototypes will be like this. This is how the ticket screen looks like. Something like that, the requirements will looks like, guys. Okay, so now I'll be sharing these documents with you all. Have a look into them and practice this concept. We'll continue the topic in the tomorrow's session, guys.